Hey, it's Kiara, and you're watching the Hangout on YouTube.
First off, I love your outfit. I love the sparkles.
Oh my god. I know, it's like, I didn't realize it's so sparkly on the thing.
Congratulations on your release, your debut album. So yesterday was your release day and you did a live performance as well. How has the last 48 hours been for you?
Interesting. Honestly, it kind of feels weird. I'm like, okay, my album's out, now what? I'm like, normally I'd be on going on tour and everything. So I'm a little sad, but I'm also so happy because it's been 5 years in the making. My fans are so sweet. I'm so happy they love it. I was really nervous. I was like, oh my God, I hope I picked the right songs. I had plenty of time to choose, and there was so many to pick from out of the vault, so.
How many songs did you have on the roster before you had to cut them all down?
A lot. I can't even put a number on it. I remember my team would send me folders and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that song. I'm like, that's me? They're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, whoa. So there's some I don't even remember, because there's just so many,
Yeah, because they span from 5 years, right? Literally since Gold to now, right?
Yeah, so there's just so many. I mean, one time we did a writing camp type thing. So I would go to the studio every single day. It was at this house. I swear it was haunted. It was the creepiest vibe ever. A funny story is I was gonna stay in the house. There were a ton of rooms. So my friends were gonna stay and I just left in the middle of the night because I was like, this is too creepy. And I left, my friend woke up and was like, yo, what? You just left? And I was like, yeah, my bad. I was super scared, and I just came back the next day and would record. But so it was nonstop, every day or every other day to give my voice a break. And yeah.
So the title of the album is called Lil Kiiwi. You mentioned previously it's not an alter ego, but it's a previous version of yourself.
Yeah, it's who I was early in my career. I mean, it'll always be a part of me, but I'm just a little more controlled now. But I was really unpredictable, indecisive, reckless, ignorant, and was just living and didn't think twice about anything or how it affected the people around me. And looking back now, I had, and while I was writing the album, a lot of regret on not being present, just my behavior, everything. I want to let fans into my world and be more transparent and be more open, and I am more comfortable with myself now. I got to know myself a lot over the past years. There were certain things that happened in my personal life that were they were wake-up calls, in a sense. And so that's what kind of turned everything around for me. And I was able to be healthier, make better decisions, and kind of really get my shit together. No other way to say it. So yeah.
You mentioned how it was such a natural creation for this album and timing with release and everything. What do you think that initial catalyst was, or a decision that sort of made this whole journey launch the way it did?
It was time, I really don't know. It just sort of happened. I mean, I kept putting together playlists of different versions of the album. I'm like, how about these songs? How about those songs? How about these? And then I don't know what happened or what clicked to where it was now we're doing these 13 songs, and it just sort of all got set into motion.
I want to talk about I Still Do. You're super into fashion, as you can see, with your amazing top.
I love sparkles. Anything sparkly, I feel you could just make it work and make it look just, When in doubt, I don't know what to wear. I'm just sequins. Where are they?
So how much input did you have on the stylistic fashion in that music video?
I actually got to work with this stylist. Her name's Uli, and she's incredible. And I would send her different fashion inspo, outfits I really liked. And I'm like, how about that and that and that? And she's really good at listening. Definitely it was a collaborative effort, and she really tied everything together. So
to the song itself, sometimes people don't want to show that they have they still care about previous partners. How is it getting into that mindset, or really sharing those vulnerable emotions and getting to that place?
That's just the type of person I am. I'll always care, and I want the best for them, because it's I have it's if I like them at some point, yeah, I'm always gonna have love for them. It's I want you to be happy and just be doing great. And so before I would question, I'm like, why do I care? They treated me terribly, or they did this or that. And then, I've begun to accept, I'd rather be like that than not care at all and be a sociopath or super spiteful or whatever, I feel it's too much energy.
You collaborated with a bunch of amazing writers on there. And because the music industry is very male dominant, you've worked with female writers such as like Ali and Livia. Is there like a sort of natural trust or connection that makes it easier writing with them sometimes?
Not really, because I grew up with brothers, so I was used to like just, I mean, now all my friends are guys, pretty much. I have like a couple friends that are girls, but it's just like what I was used to. But I still do love working with like female writers because I feel like they do understand like certain emotions where it's like, oh my God, like this guy I was seeing was doing this and all this, and they like, I feel like they can get it and they can like kind of dive into the, yeah, like fuck him, he sucks kind of thing. Whereas other guys would be like, well, what were you doing? Like, what'd you say? You know, and they try to like analyze it a little more. But yeah, and even with Livy, like she's a Gemini as well. And so we're just like on the same wave. So she'll go in the booth and write something and then like we just feed off each other.
Going back to the females kind of understanding each other's emotions, Don't Get Confused is such a good song. A lot of people, I guess they can relate to that because it's like sometimes you're not really trying to do anything, but you're just being yourself. So what was that process kind of like writing that song?
That one, like I really connect with because it was like that. Don't get confused. Like I'm not into you. Like just because you got attached, it's like, I don't know. Like just because you bought me a drink, it's like I don't owe you anything. Like bye. Like I remember a guy would be like, oh, let's go get a drink, and they're like, do you want one? And I'm like, yeah. And I would take like one sip and just like leave it there, and they're like, what, like what the heck? And so they would like drink it and everything. They just kind of got used to it. They're like, okay, whatever, she does this every time. Like yeah, some guys like they feel like you owe them something or you know whatever, and it's like I don't like that, and I'm gonna call them out because that's like super messed up. It's yeah.
I want to talk about your next single, So Sick, with Blackbear. What was it like getting to collab with him?
Yeah, I mean, fans have been wanting us to work, like, to do a song together for years. I mean, we dated for a little bit, like, a few years ago. And so I was in the studio when we recorded So Sick, like, I was with the producers and stuff. And when the engineer hit playback, I was like, oh my God. I called my team and I was like, Bear would sound crazy on this. He would be so good. Like, I could hear his voice on it. And they were like, well, text him. And I was like, guys, like I haven't talked to him in like 2 or 3 years. I don't know if that's a good idea. And they're like, no, okay, like we'll hit his team and figure it out. And then they're like, okay, text him. I was like, does he know I'm texting him? And they're like, yes, like you're fine. I'm like, you sure? Because this will be really weird. And they're like, no, go ahead. He's waiting. And so I like texted him. I was like, yo, listen to this song. Like you'd sound cool on. And he was down and he like sent back his verse. He killed it. I had no notes. I was like, wow. Even the ad libs, I was like, those are amazing. And it just sort of happened like that. And now we're friends. So like, we're just cool. And
Never Let You, I feel like shapes the album and just really rounds it out as a whole. And it shows your journey throughout the last few years. Looking at the big picture, like everything that you've accomplished, does it like, how does it feel to kind of see how far you've come?
It's wild to think about. And sometimes I get stuck in like what's right in front of me and I don't remember sort of what I've done and I get discouraged. And that's what inspired Never Let You is like, gosh, like, do I even know what I'm doing? Like, I should just quit. Like, I don't even know. And my friends have to remind me, like, look what you've done. Like, do you remember when we were at Tomorrowland in Belgium? Do you remember like when you were in Germany with Linkin Park? Like, that's not something like many people can say they've done. They're like, what you've done is like incredible. And some, they hype me up maybe a little too much. They're like, it's like legendary. It's like iconic. And I'm like, really? I'm like, okay. And so like, I kind of take everything with like a grain of salt. And I like, you know, I try not to hold on to those experiences like too much because I'm always wanting to like do more and more and more. But it's like, I do have to take a step back and realize like, wow, I guess I did do that and that. And those were huge accomplishments that like, you know, I should be proud of. Like it was like a lot of hard work and stuff. So yeah.
I'll wrap it up with the final question. So for fans who are like OG fans to also fans that are joining now, what do you want them to sort of take away from this album?
I want them to take away like that. I always say this and I don't want it to like be too repetitive, but like you're not alone. You know, if you're feeling something, odds are someone else in the world feels the same way. So it kind of makes it easier to go through those emotions, knowing like, okay, I'm not the only one. Like this is like a normal thing. So I want people to realize that. And then also I want this album to be sort of an escape and like bring them into, you know, Lil Kiiwi's world. It's like, welcome, like to this journey. Like it's gonna just keep getting more exciting. That's what, you know, I want it to be like kind of a getaway and like, you know, something like that.
That's awesome. I really love this album. It's really amazing.
Thank you so much.